Happy Travel Tuesday and happy first day of
the summer. Absolutely. This is the longest daylight hours of the year.
So
Not
hopefully
the longest
people
day of the year.
got
the
up
longest daylight
early,
hours.
they have
That's
extra
right.
energy, they're ready to go.
Absolutely. It's an exciting day, and school's ending for a lot, and I think there's probably a couple of days left for many schools. But I remember when I was a kid, the first day of summer and all of the excitement of what's to come for the next couple months.
Yes, thrilled about the season because it is my favorite season. And by the way, Elizabeth and Brian here from AAA with your Travel Tuesday update. Funny that today was the day that AAA chose to release their annual Independence Day travel forecast.
Well, summer's summer vacation, and there's a lot going on, so it gives us a couple weeks to plan, because planning is needed for sure this summer.
Oh, well, we have learned about that. So airline delays, problems over the weekend, we'll talk about that coming up. I just wanted to share some of the numbers of what to expect for Independence Day. Since this is brand new breaking news here. 48 million people expected to travel. 98% of pre-pandemic levels, just shy of 2019 by 2%.
And it shows that all of those folks that haven't traveled for a couple years, really, that pent-up demand, people are traveling. And, we're noticing that even with the higher gas prices and the higher airline tickets prices, they're still going.
People are still spending that money. They want to travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we took a look at the numbers with our national office, reviewed figures and the research here, and, people haven't slowed down. This is a perfect example. Car travel expected to set a new record with 42 million people planning to hit the road, despite those high gas prices that are about $5 a gallon.
Absolutely. And, we're starting to see that folks, in the news, there's been so much in the press of airline delays and flight cancellations due to not only weather, but crew staffing and all of the above there. People are actually reverting to driving for their vacation, and they don't want to put up with the hassle of the airports, the delays, and the cancellations, and maybe missing that event that they're going to. So, you know what? At the end of the day, it gives you your own schedule, too. You're kind of on your own time.
It puts you in the driver's seat, literally.
Literally, no pun intended,
well,
yes.
And some people might say, I don't want to drive. I want to go out to the Grand Canyon, or I want to go down to Florida. Some people might drive that far, but, other people might be saying, you know what? Let's take that road trip. We'll go right here in New York State to the attractions, Finger Lakes, Thousand Islands, or we'll go to those East Coast beaches.
Well, I was just back in our route production department earlier today, and there's a lot of triptychs that are going out to the Grand Canyon. So there are a lot of people that are driving far places, which is really great.
Well, if you're going to do that, do not even attempt it without an emergency road kit.
Yes.
So this is I'm holding it backwards. The AAA emergency road kit that you can get right at AAA, or you can build your own. The idea is to make sure you have a safety kit. And if it's a road trip, you want to add in some water bottles, some snacks, a phone charger. Make sure you have jumper cables, some basic tools. This way, if you do break down on the side of the road, it's going to help you either wait for help or maybe be able to fix the problem on your own.
Well, absolutely. And we always think of a roadside kit in the wintertime, but it's equally, if not more important, in the summer as well. And, we've talked about it on our radio show on the Big Whack, and we've talked about it on Facebook, but, you need to make sure that your car is in tip-top shape for that road trip.
Road trip ready. One of the things we also worry about is that with these high gas prices, people waiting to the last minute to fill up the tank again. So AAA research shows more than 70% of drivers use the miles to empty on their dash, and that's not always accurate.
I do.
So don't push it to the limit. It's okay if you use it, but when it says 20 miles left, go get gas, because it might not really be 20.
It starts a little tension in the car, actually, but I'm one that, we can get to Batavia and back on these, fumes.
You don't want to. We say minimum quarter tank, half a tank in the winter, but
which is so true, and I have gotten better with that for sure. But pay attention to that for sure.
Right. Well, our gas calls. So the people that have called AAA when they ran out of gas on the roadside, the numbers from May 2021 to May 2022 have doubled. But if you consider the overall percentage of our calls, it's like 0.9% to 1.35%. So it went up, not even half a percentage. However, calls have doubled. So we are seeing more people running out of fuel on the side of the road. So you don't want that to happen on a road trip. So use TripTik, like Brian had mentioned, to plan your stops along the way where there'll be gas available.
And the New York State Thruway, many of the gas stops are closed right now, or the restaurants are. The gas is there, but the restaurants and the restrooms are closed. So really plan your trip accordingly as well. So not only having that kit in your car, but maybe having a cooler with snacks and so forth, because you don't want to have to get off the thruway and drive around looking for places to buy sandwiches and so forth.
Right.
Plus, it makes it fun. I remember we'd pack the car up as a kid and,
The good old-fashioned picnic.
absolutely. Picnic on wheels.
Now, air travel is also supposed to be up this year, although not as many people are traveling by air as by car. And for the air travel numbers, it's going to be up 1.5%. With 3.5 million people flying. That's still a lot of people flying. The TSA numbers have been going up and up every day.
Well, they have been going up and up every day, and we saw this past weekend the thousands of flights that were canceled. So it's really, really important that you plan, that you have your, on your smartphone, you have the airline app, they have your contact information, and one of the things we've always said kind of in the travel business, if you're going on a cruise or you're going on a guided vacation or even going to a wedding, plan to arrive a day ahead, but actually now you really should consider 2 or 3 days ahead.
Right.
It really is that important because we have seen and we've had members that have been traveling and they've been delayed up to 2, sometimes 3 days, depending on the destination and the flights. If they're full, it's really hard to rebook. But do remember, you do get your money back if the airline cancels your flight. So if you have an opportunity to book an alternate flight and you have the means to do that, certainly book that and you will get a refund from your original flight that the airline did cancel.
Okay, very good advice. And you also had mentioned some good tips as far as your baggage and your luggage when you're getting on the planes these days.
So if you can carry on, it's one of the best things if you do get disrupted, because if you have your luggage checked and there's a bag tag on it and you want to be rerouted, the bag has to stay with you, or it's supposed to stay with you. And many times they've said to me, "Did you check a bag?" I said, "Yes." Well, you can't. So if you can carry on, that's great. And we have show and tell here, right? We have packing cubes. And so packing cubes, if you haven't used them, they really come in handy. You can fit a lot of things in a suitcase if you put them in packing cubes, because
we've traveled literally to Europe with a carry-on.
Yep.
Because you put everything in here, you roll up your clothes, and they
it gets
fit
it really
neatly.
compact. They're not wrinkled when you do it. So do consider that. It really is something that saves time. I'm an overpacker. I go to Overpackers Anonymous regularly. I do. You've seen it. But it really is important. And if you have that bag with you, then you can maneuver on a different flight much more easily.
Yeah, and it's amazing how these work. All of a sudden, the carry-on suitcase holds so much more because
Absolutely.
everything's compacted.
It's amazing. I've used them before, and they're really great. Yeah.
So carry on if you can. That's the next piece of advice, so you don't lose that luggage if you're rerouted. And the other segment of travel that's really up, the numbers are astounding. It's other travel as far as buses, trains, and cruise ships.
Well, cruises are just amazing. Most of the cruise ships, the major cruise lines have all of their ships back in the water, which is great. Most of them now are booking to capacity as well. But the protocols are in place. There still is testing required to get on the ships. So that is important to remember. But there are certain areas where they are limiting capacity, and it's really because of crew staffing. So, for example, the Pride of America, which sails out of Honolulu around Hawaii, they are having staffing issues on the ship, so they are only booking to have capacity to make sure that everyone gets the experience that they're, hoping for.
Right,
and they want to make sure that, absolutely, so they want to make sure that everyone has that experience, which is really great that they pay attention to that.
Right. And that means they want you to have a great time. And of course, they want everyone to be safe. But when you think about that other segment, I looked at the numbers, up 168%.
I know. Well,
hard to believe. I mean, when you think about it, a year ago, there weren't many cruises in the water yet.
No, not at all. And, Alaska's reopened. Pretty much everywhere has reopened, and people miss it. There are cruisers that just love cruise after cruise after cruise. And, you've cruised recently, I've cruised recently, and the experience is great. So that's really huge. And I do have one question for you from the data that came from the 4th of July stats. Number one destination from Buffalo is?
I actually didn't read that far down, but I will bet money that it's Orlando.
Well, I did read, and it is Orlando. So the home of Mickey Mouse and Universal Orlando and all of those wonderful Central Florida attractions. Cape Canaveral, all of that is there. So again, that continues to be a #1 destination, and it's great for families.
I can see Mickey and Minnie suitcases across the travel center. I see Disney books over here, so we definitely have all of your Disney needs met
We
too.
do have a lot of cute Disney little luggages for young people. It's really great. It's really fun.
Yeah, then the kids don't mind carrying or
Their
rolling
own.
their own luggage
Absolutely.
if it has Mickey
That's
or Minnie on
It's
it.
a great way to do that. Absolutely. Great point.
But it's so excited to see people return to travel, and the point is that it's going to be extremely busy. So before you even venture to that weekend, if you have flights booked, you want to make sure the airlines have your contact information, right? So that way, if they are canceling or delaying, you're going to get it right to your phone.
Absolutely. So you want to be, and you know, sometimes I look for that plan B before I'm flying. I may look at a schedule and say, oh, okay, if this happens and I'm canceled, what are my options? So, you know, and give us a call. We can let you know options as well. And always at the airport, if there is a last minute cancellation, kind of position yourself to be near the front of a line whenever a line occurs, because you know, those are first come, first served seats. So, you know, the closer to the front you are, the closer you get to that rebooking opportunity, for sure.
Okay, those are some great tips.
I'm a hoverer. I always hover.
And I know Carey, our producer, put in the Facebook description for our Facebook Live today about where are you going this summer and what's on your summer bucket list. So we talked about Orlando being #1. A lot of people also, of course, heading to the beach at summertime and looking to make those family memories.
Absolutely. A lot of road trips down to the Mid-Atlantic, down to Myrtle Beach and the Outer Banks. Maine in the Northeast coast is really great. And as I said, we are getting a lot of triptych requests to go out west. It's amazing. A lot of rail travel. People love traveling by rail. I think, you know, that kind of came out of the pandemic. Amtrak was always popular, but it's really popular now. So
Okay.
that's really great as well.
So don't hesitate. Book that summer vacation. And what's on the bucket list for you?
So Ireland is still on my bucket list. I didn't get there, and it's still in the planning stages now with a canceled trip from 2 years ago. But speaking of Ireland, our friends at CIE have 10% off all of their guided vacations or private vacations for England, Scotland, and Wales. So book by July 1. So there's a couple weeks left for travel July 13th through the end of the year.
Okay.
That's a really great savings. And I will tell you, Ireland and Scotland have been really popular kind of coming out of the pandemic. So it's a great, great place. It was always very popular, but it's even more popular right now.
And talking about going to Ireland and over to Europe, a lot of people are considering and resuming flights out of Toronto again, since it's a lot easier to cross and get those international flights.
Absolutely. With the lifting of the testing, and Toronto's been a great option for folks in Western New York, nonstop flights virtually around the world. So it really is a great option, and we're seeing more and more travelers wanting to do that as well. Still about a week and a half left of wonderful savings for Celebrity with their 60% off second guest. That was a June promotion. In Royal Caribbean, 30% off each guest, plus kids sail free. So both of those have great, great cruise opportunities, and you know what a family-friendly Royal Caribbean vacation is with Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Celebrity does wonderful things in the Caribbean. They have great round trips to Bermuda. Bermuda's a wonderful spot for a summer vacation as well on a cruise. So a lot of things going on out there.
Well, it all sounds good to me. Also on my bucket list, my daughter was talking about Hawaii the other day. We've never been there. I'm like, it always seems so far, but we will get there. And Aruba as well. The perfect weather all the time.
It is perfect weather. It is breezy. And boy, I have to tell you, we had a lot of wind the last few days.
Well,
this
that's
weekend
why
it was
we're
really
inside.
breezy. I know.
mean, first day of summer, we should be outside, but we went out there and it
we
was
tried.
pretty windy, and the
It
microphones.
was pretty windy, yeah. But Hawaii isn't. I mean, it's far, but it's really not. You can get there really easy, and Hawaii became, you know, kind of repopular during the pandemic as well. So a lot of great opportunities wherever you want to travel. We're here to get you there. We're here before, during, and after the trip, and you know, the branch has been really crowded today, and a lot of people are planning that vacation. So when you're ready, we're ready.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of visitors here. It's not too late to go away this summer, though, right? Especially with car travel on the rise, if people are willing to travel by car or find flights. There's places to go.
You know what? Again, flexibility is the key with a lot of that. Hotels, there are hotels available, and you know, depending on and I mentioned flexibility, that's really key. So if you say, hey, I don't know, I want to go to, Maine in the last week in July. Well, if the hotels are expensive and they're not available, be flexible, maybe a couple weeks early or a couple weeks late. If you're able to do that, you can snag some really great deals.
Okay, there you go. And start planning ahead now for holiday travel, 2023 travel, because, being in advance or, proactive is going to go a long way.
We've actually had members that are coming in and they're booking for 2024.
Ooh.
So we definitely in the travel industry live these years and holidays far in advance.
Yeah.
So plan those holiday vacations. Next spring break, actually really popular to book right now.
Okay, you
All
heard
right.
it here first.
You
And
bet.
thanks for tuning in. Of course, happy first day of summer. Book those trips now, and if people need information, they can always come visit us right here at AAA because we're always here for you.
Absolutely. Before, during, and after the trip, we're here. So have a great day, everybody.
Happy Travel Tuesday.
Bye.